Hey everyone, Chef Lee here in the American Range Kitchen. Today I'm making a chicken paillard with cauliflower couscous and an olive and caper salsa. This is a great way to use leftover cauliflower, kind of ends and bits that are laying around in the fridge that you don't want to go to waste. We're going to start off with the cauliflower. What I have here is a lot of ends and bits of cauliflower from a different recipe where I made cauliflower steak, and I have these kind of odd pieces that I can use to make my cauliflower couscous. That way nothing goes to waste. Everything here is going to go into the food processor and it's going to get blitzed to really mimic the texture of couscous or rice. So the cauliflower is going to be broken down into smaller bits, just kind of making it easier for the machine here. It's kind of halfway. Lid goes on, and we're blitzing. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. So you see it, the texture is very fine and almost like a couscous. So like I said, I'm going to work in batches here. Everything's going to come together in this bowl and then go into the pan. So we're looking at a super affordable way to make a nice flavorful side. It's vegetarian, it's actually vegan if you don't add the chicken to it. It can live on its own very well and be super delicious and flavorful. And that is it. I'm gonna set this to the side. And to my cauliflower couscous, I just want to chop an onion. I'm gonna grab a red onion. I'm gonna give this a fine chop. And I'm looking at really fine pieces of cauliflower, so I want to make sure that my onion is also chopped pretty fine. I want to go on a medium heat here, and in there are going to go my onion and my cauliflower together with a little bit of seasoning, pretty basic, nothing too extravagant, and that's going to sit as our side for the dish. So oil goes in, onion, and then my cauliflower, super fine, is going to join. We're going to mix that in, and you really see a texture of almost rice or couscous, which that's where it gets its name. What I'm looking to do here is a couple things. I'm looking to basically extract a little bit of the moisture from the cauliflower. Cauliflower has a lot of water content in it, and I want to extract that water, have that evaporate so it'll intensify the flavor of the cauliflower, and then just get a little bit of browning, again, also to intensify the flavor. I do want to make sure that I'm moving the cauliflower around since it's very delicate, it's very fine. I don't want it to burn, but I'm looking to get a little bit of color. So I'm on a medium heat here. Looking good. A little bit of salt. We're going to cover this, let it sit 7 minutes. And we're moving on. What we're going to do here as our couscous is cooking, as our cauliflower couscous is cooking, is we're going to bread our chicken. And we're talking about a very basic kind of classic breading technique. What I did with my chicken breast here is just kind of to minimize the width of it. I sliced it on an angle to basically create a thinner piece of chicken. That way you still get a little bite of chicken, but it's not super thick. So it's a good ratio between the chicken and the breading. I'm not gonna pound it out. I do like a little bit extra thickness, and if I pound it out, we're getting way too thin. The way we're gonna do this is, again, super classic. 3 steps: flour, eggs, breadcrumbs. I have panko breadcrumbs, I have regular whole eggs, and I have regular all-purpose flour. What I'm gonna do is actually season all 3. So a little bit of salt is gonna go into all 3. That's gonna help us create basically more flavor for the chicken. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of garlic powder into the flour, and a nice kick of heat, a little bit of cayenne pepper. So I want to mix my flour here, my seasoned flour. Then from my bowl, it's going to go into a plate. I'm going to mix my panko. So I'm going from dry ingredient, then to wet. Otherwise, I would have to change forks. And I'm going to beat my eggs. The eggs just have a little bit of salt in them. You're using one ingredient in order for it to stick to the other. What I mean by that is, the chicken, if it goes straight into the breadcrumbs, not gonna stick. So we do this, and it's a little bit of a process, but once you get it down, it works perfect. You're gonna go into the flour first. The flour helps the egg stick, and the egg helps the breadcrumb stick. So we're gonna go flour, eggs, breadcrumb. Our chicken gets dredged in the flour, and you wanna make sure that all bits of it get covered in flour. Kind of give it a little pat down so the excess flour comes off. Basically, from the flour go into the eggs. I'm gonna keep this hand dry, I'm gonna get this hand wet. That way I'm not breading my own fingers. Chicken goes in from the flour to the egg. I'm gonna switch my hand and into the breadcrumb. Get it coated in the breadcrumb. My dry hand comes in. So a nice even breading all across. Again, wet hand comes in, into the dry flour, flour all around, get rid of the excess, into the egg, from the egg into the breadcrumbs. I'm gonna keep doing that with the rest of my chicken here. We have all of our chicken breasts nicely breaded. All these, the flour, the panko, and the egg, must be discarded since they had raw chicken on them, so I'm just gonna do that quickly. Our cauliflower couscous is right about done. And I see it's nice and fluffy. It still has a little bit of its texture here. A little dark in color. It's exactly what I'm looking for. That can be covered and set to the side as we start cooking our chicken. So here, nice large pan, and super important to have heavy bottom on this pan so it kind of keeps the heat of the oil even, doesn't burn. I'm gonna go on a medium right here, get it heated up. You want a fair amount of oil here just to make sure you're getting a nice even browning of the breadcrumbs. So I have 4 chicken breasts here, nicely breaded. My one thing is I don't want them to sit out and get cold. I'm gonna actually use the warming drawer to keep them in there. It's set at 175, so it's a low temperature that's not gonna keep cooking it, but they're just gonna keep warm. It's a dry heat, so they're still gonna be crispy, and there's no worry about that. Perfect solution if you're cooking big quantities of food and you don't want things to go cold or go stale on you. And a nice way to check this, if it's actually heated up, is to grab one of the pieces and kind of give it a little kiss. And I see that the oil needs just a little bit longer to heat up. So my chicken's gonna go in. And it's a nice even sizzle. It's not anything too kind of excited and angry. I want to keep it at a medium heat because what I want to achieve is a nice browning on the outside while the inside actually gets cooked. As I'm cooking my chicken here, I'm going to make a little salad to go on top of our dish. For our salad here, we have cherry tomatoes, we have some kalamata olives, some capers, some herbs, some onion. All that's going to come together, work super nicely with our dish. So the cherry tomatoes are just going to get kind of sliced in half on a bias. There's really no reason to slice it on a bias, and there's no reason why not to slice it on a bias. So go with our red onion, just thinly sliced. Anytime you use onion in its raw form, better to use it as thinly as possible. So that way you're getting the flavor, but it's not just an explosion of onion in the mouth. This is more kind of like a relish that's gonna go on top, add some brightness, and again, that fresh component that we have to have in every dish. Going with our herbs, so we have some parsley, some fresh oregano also that I'm just gonna pull off the stem here. Again, in a rough chop. I'm gonna go in with some olives, have some black kalamata olives, pitted. Capers, go in whole, they're tiny. I'm gonna go in with some lemon juice. So you're looking to add brightness to anything that has a lot of kind of cooked, heavy flavors, especially if it's fried. You wanna add that brightness. The lemon also keeps the herbs nice and vibrantly green. Oh, one more thing, a little bit of olive oil. And that's our salad ready to go. I'm gonna take a look here, and we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 minutes on each side on a medium-low heat. I'm gonna use my meat thermometer, and I'm gonna go into my thickest part of the chicken, and I'm looking for, say, 155, 160. Yeah, I'm hitting 160 right here. So this chicken can come out, and I can go into my next piece. Second batch goes in. Same story. And my heating drawer here is set at 175. I'm just gonna place my chickens that are already done. They're set on a wire rack. That way there's heat circulating all around, keeping the inside moist and warm, keeping the outside crispy. They can sit there for as long as you need. All right, chickens are ready. And our chicken is gonna join their friends here in the warming drawer. We're gonna move on to plating. All right, I'm ready to plate. I have my cauliflower couscous here, which I'm gonna just toss some fresh wild arugula in. And I'm not looking to really cook the arugula. I just want the residual heat to kind of slightly, very, very slightly wilt it. Adds a little bit of color, adds another element of vegetable. So we're actually starting with our cauliflower right in the center. You see it's a really fun, kind of flaky, airy texture that it has. I'm gonna come in with our chicken right here on the side. So already you're seeing super vibrant colors. And you have that salad to kind of contradict the white and the brown from the other elements on the plate. And of course, adds just massive flavor. And there you have it. It's a chicken Paillard with a cauliflower couscous and a cherry tomato and olive caper salad. Guys and gals, once again, another simple, beautiful recipe from the American Range Kitchen. I'm Chef Lee. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you here real soon with some more recipes.